For good posture when playing piano, the number one most important tip is to keep your wrist and forearm approximately horizontal. Now, I don't mean that you're going to need one of these anytime soon for checking the actual horizontality of your forearm. What I do mean is just make sure that the chair is not too high or too low, because if you're sitting on something that is too low, your hands are likely to end up here like this, in which case you need to raise yourself up with a cushion or something. Or if your hands end up down here like this, it means that what you're sitting on is too high. You need to change to a lower chair. So if your hands are roughly horizontal, then you're already well on the way to having reasonably good piano posture. The second most important thing is actually the distance from the piano. Now, again, you're not going to need to measure the distance or anything. All you need is your two elbows. Imagine a line, an invisible line drawn from elbow to elbow. Such an imaginary line should theoretically just about touch the front of your stomach. Now, if, like me, you've started to put on a few pounds, then the line that you're going to imagine from elbow to elbow should touch the front of where your stomach is supposed to be. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, we've got a horizontal forearm and wrist, and we've got a reasonable distance to the keyboard, which we've ascertained by measuring from elbow to elbow. What else do we need to consider? Well, when you're practicing for a while, it's sometimes tempting to, slouch, to not sit up terribly straight. A very easy tip that I sometimes use to correct my posture is I just sit on my hands temporarily, just as a little sort of checking technique. And what that helps me to do is it helps me to align my ears with my shoulders and my shoulders with my hips. So when you sit on your hands like this, it's a very good way, without a mirror or without somebody telling you, of just helping to check that you're sitting nice and straight. So once you're sitting straight, hands are in the right position, you're good to go. However, there is one little tip that I'd like to share with you. When you're looking at sheet music, a lot of students make the mistake of looking down at their hands, and as they do, they move their head, and then they move their head to look back at the sheet music. And the trouble with moving your head to look down at your hands and then to look back at the sheet music is it's very difficult to instantly go back to where you are on the sheet music. So what I do when I'm playing, if I'm using sheet music, is I basically look at the music, sit up straight, look at the music, and as I'm looking at my hands, I look down my nose and see my head didn't move. So I'm looking at the sheet music, now I'm looking down at my hands, looking at the sheet music. It's just a question of looking down your nose to actually look at your hands when you need to. That way, as you play, you don't need to move your head. So those are my main tips, folks, for really good posture. You've just got to make sure that your wrist and forearm is horizontal, that you're at a good distance from the keyboard as measured from elbow to elbow. And when you're looking at the sheet music and sitting up nice and straight, look down your nose at your hands if you need to look down at all, rather than actually lowering your head. And that's it. Thanks for watching.